My Adventures with Superman Season 2, Episode 5 just came out tonight, and honestly, I think this is the best episode we've gotten this entire season. Probably something I say very often because, with few exceptions, these episodes really do just get better and better. But regardless, this episode has a lot of stuff that we got to talk about and break down, so let's get right into it. So this episode opens up with Clark and Lois finally meeting casually for the first time in almost like 2 episodes, I think. And we both know that these two characters have something they want to talk to each other about. Two completely different topics that they have to talk to each other about, and they just have not gotten the opportunity. But right before they start to talk, of course they get interrupted by Perry, who's sending them on an assignment. Now, this assignment is to cover an event about Metropolis's most eligible bachelors, and that list of bachelors includes Superman, which is why Perry wants Clark and Lois to go. Now, I think this side plot was actually a great choice for this episode because it puts tons of different types of pressure onto both Lois and Clark. Now, we know that Lois and Clark are obviously in a relationship, so putting Clark on a show where he's a bachelor isn't exactly accurate considering he has a girlfriend. But since they want to keep Clark's secret identity a secret, he has to actually act single on this show to make sure that him and Lois stay safe. That's the plan that Clark and Lois go into this episode with, and let's talk about how that worked out for him. So we see Superman on this show trying to act single with these other bachelors and bachelorettes. And this is something that I never thought I would say. But we actually see Superman flirting with some random girl that is not Lois Lane. And Lois is standing right there watching him flirt. Now, I'm going to give Clark the benefit of the doubt. He's a very wholesome, very sweet boy. I don't think he knew he was flirting. But if you look at his body language and the way he was talking to this girl, he is definitely flirting, all right? And we can see how the sight of Clark flirting with another girl is actually affecting Lois and her self-esteem. These events leave Lois to believe that she's not good enough for Clark and that Clark deserves somebody more. Now, we're going to take a pause on this part of the episode because we have a whole other half of the episode to go to. And this half follows Jimmy and Kara Zor-El. Their story in this episode opens up just like how we saw it in the teaser for today's episode, where Kara is just out wandering and Jimmy saves her from getting hit by a bus. Or should I say, he saves her from destroying the bus. After Jimmy and Kara get introduced, we're kind of seeing that there's a little bit of chemistry here. And this chemistry basically continues for the entire rest of the episode. But regardless, they get introduced to each other, and Jimmy tells Kara he's going to help her find who she's looking for. Eventually, Jimmy and Kara just stumble upon a random ice cream place, and Kara says she's never tried ice cream before, so of course Jimmy gotta show her some ice cream, right? And this beautiful moment between these two characters starts off their whole day of them basically just going on a date. And Jimmy's just giving her a tour of Metropolis and showing her the beauties of it and being a good guy, I guess. And this date leads them to sitting on top of the Daily Planet watching the sunset together. And can I just say, these two characters are really cute together in this show. Obviously, Clark and Lois will always be the cutest couple in this show. They'll never be surpassed. But it's kind of nice to have a number 2 spot, you know? I really think that Jimmy and Kara could actually be another reason to watch this show completely the same way Clark and Lois are. Especially after we see and listen to the heart-to-heart these two have on top of the Daily Planet. I think these two characters will end up having a lot in common, and they'll probably end up together. Honestly, I hope they do. But after this conversation, Jimmy and Kara end up going to find Clark and Lois, and that leads us to the 4 of them meeting up. When Jimmy and Kara show up to the event, Superman is winning Metropolis's most eligible bachelor. And while he's standing up on the stage, that random girl earlier gives him a kiss on the cheek, and that absolutely sets Lois off, and she just storms out the room. Now, of course, Clark is slightly innocent here, so he runs after Lois, asks her what's wrong, and they kind of get into it a little bit. Lois is basically just projecting all of her insecurities onto her relationship with Clark, and Clark's just kind of very confused and very sad to hear all this. And this conversation ends with Lois breaking up with Clark, which honestly is not something I thought we were going to see in this show. And this will probably be resolved by next episode, or hopefully it will be. But yeah, Lois and Clark are now officially broken up. But this dramatic breakup gets cut short when Kara storms into the hallway demanding Kal-El's attention. She basically ridicules him for the way he's treating himself on Earth, and she calls him weak, and she suits up, and we find out that Kara is actually the person in that robot suit that we've been seeing over tons of these past episodes. Some people thought this was Brainiac, some people thought this was Zod, and the whole time it's actually Kara. Now this actually got me surprised. I was not expecting this. And with that, Kara tells Clark that he needs to join her so they can conquer Earth together. And of course, Clark is not down for that at all, so they get to fighting. Now, this fight was actually animated spectacularly. I think this is my favorite fight in the whole series by far. And one of the moments that I think was very interesting about this fight is a scene where Clark gets that weird lightning effect around his body when his powers are seemingly like charging up or something, and he ends up shooting an ice beam out of his mouth. At first, this was really confusing to me because Clark has no ice beam abilities at all, but then I realized I guess this really just is like a super powered version of his frost breath. But anyways, this isn't really that deep. I just thought that was cool and I wanted to mention it. So the two of them continue fighting, and during this entire fight, there's a voice in Kara's ear that's basically talking to her and commanding her and coaching her through this entire fight. Now, the only clue we have as to who this could possibly be is at the very end of the fight, where Clark refers to this voice as father. Now, even though she said the voice was her father, I don't necessarily think that this is her father, Zor-El, because she says that Clark and herself are the last two Kryptonians in the universe. So clearly, her father in this situation can't be another Kryptonian, right? It has to be some other person that we just don't know yet. Now, again, maybe this other character is Brainiac, but that would be kind of weird, but we really don't know until we know, you know? So that's all we got going for us right now. And at the end of this fight, Kara puts Clark in this like red coffin looking thing and kidnaps him up into space. Now, before we go ahead and talk about how this episode ended and what that could mean for future episodes, I gotta mention one thing. Kara's suit here is absolutely hard. Like, this shit is tough. This is one of the coolest, like, black suit super person designs I feel like we've seen. And I really hope that this does not go away anytime soon. But like I said, the episode ended off with Kara kidnapping Clark and taking him into space, which pretty much means that the next episode is probably going to be heavy exposition, these two talking, hopefully they're bonding, hopefully we find out about Kara's origin and where she's been this whole time. And we're also going to learn, you know, what Kara's doing in space and what she's doing still as a Kryptonian empire conqueror. All in all, episode 5 was honestly great. I really enjoyed this episode more than I've enjoyed almost any episode this season, and I'm pretty sure the next episode is going to be huge in terms of story and everything. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications for when I post my next breakdown video, because honestly I'm excited for that one. But yeah, that's all for today. If you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and do me a favor and hit that like button down below. If you didn't enjoy this video, leave me a comment and let me know why, so I can go ahead and improve my videos for the future. And that's all I got for you guys today. I'll see you in the next one.